Welcome all, this is Russ. I just wanted to make a little video about how to accept an assignment in Github Classroom and what it's going to look like after you've created a repository. For a more detailed description of how to use GitHub, look for the video that I'll be posting on that subject separately. Alright, so first of all, when I create a GitHub Classroom, basically what this is going to be is it's going to be a set of repositories that I'm going to create. Each repository represents one assignment. And when that assignment is ready to release, I'm going to put it up on the web, but I'm also going to put a link to classroom.github that I'm going to give to everyone. All of you need to go follow this link, and it's going to create a new assignment or a new repository for you that represents your version of the assignment. Although this code is based on my assignment, it is a repository that's theoretically owned by you, meaning that you can access it, you can commit code to it, but only you are going to be able to commit code to it. Now, by the way, you'll notice here that when I followed this link, it is copying the code from the existing repository into a new one. When you do this, there will actually be one more step that's where you have to push a button that says accept this assignment. I don't get that because I'm recreating a repository that I've already tested. But each time that you get an assignment, you will see that link. Alright, so what's happened here is that GitHub has created a fork of the repository, a fork of the repo, and it now gives me a link here to the assignment, or to our copy of the repository. And so what we have here are a set of files that I've made available. By the way, the set of files will vary from assignment to assignment. This is an old assignment that I just used as an example repository. So what is in here will be different from time to time. However, I will be posting all of these files both to the class website and also to the GitHub Classroom. So you can access it either way. You'll be accessing the same files. Generally, I would recommend that you use GitHub Classroom, but either one is acceptable. All right, now that we've actually created this repository, it's now time that we need to actually access these files. Now, the first thing you will do, I will tell you about this. I don't really recommend it, but this is if you don't remember anything else, you can always use this as your backup plan. You can go to this green button, Clone or Download, and you can download a zip file. So you can download all the files straight out of GitHub. Unfortunately, when you do that, you're not creating some version of the repository. You're creating your own private copy, and that means that when you want to make changes, you have to manually go again to this web interface, and you'll have to upload files again. See this button, Upload Files. So this is not really integrating with the entire Git system, and you're going to miss out on some cool features. A much better way is to actually what's called cloning the repository. You can watch my Git video for more detail on what a clone is. But the short answer is that a clone is another copy of the repository that is going to keep synced with the original. So this is not a fork. A fork is where two repositories have the same history, but then they diverge over time. A clone of a repository is where there are two copies of the same thing. They might diverge a little bit for a short period, but we're constantly syncing them back up together. And so what you can do is you can clone it onto your own computer. Now, one option is that you can install this GitHub desktop application. Actually, if you go here, you can click on Open in Desktop. If you don't have GitHub Desktop already installed, it will give you a link to install it. But since I've got it installed, I can now go here to GitHub Desktop. Now what it's going to do is it's going to say, here's the original repository on GitHub, and then it's suggesting a place where we could copy it locally. So let's go ahead and we'll say clone. And what it's going to do is it's going to And you get to see a little stuff there. Okay, users, Russ, I believe it's in documents, GitHub, there we are. ASM1 Russ Lewis. And so what's happened here is that GitHub Desktop has extracted all of the files out of the repository and uploaded them here. Now, it's not just a download. It also has synced up these files. So it's aware that this is a local duplicate of the repository that's sitting on GitHub. So if you want to do something simple, you could, for instance, let's see, do we want to do this? We could try this in Notepad. Let's see if it works. These scripts are actually designed to run on Unix machines, so they might not. Oh, what do you know? All right, so what we've got here is this is a little grading script. We could, here is a comment added with Notepad. All right, we'd say file save. Now, you could have Java files, you could have C files here. Now, what you'll notice here on GitHub Desktop is that it is aware that you've made a change here. And if you decide that this change is something that's worth saving, then you can write a commit. You can say, doing a dummy commit from GitHub Desktop. If you want, you can put longer description, but this message is the most important part. And now we can commit to master. Now, if you watch my GitHub video, you'll see a longer description of what it means to do a push and pull. But for the short answer here is that when you have a local repository, that keeps track of a certain set of changes. Then there's the master or the origin repository that's sitting on GitHub itself. We have not at this point actually pushed anything up to GitHub. What we've done is we've said we have a temporary file sitting on our local machine which we think is worth saving. We might make additional changes, but from time to time we need to let GitHub know about our changes. And so if you do a push here, then what will happen is that the repository sitting on your computer and the repository sitting in GitHub are going to be synchronized. Technically, actually, what it means is you're going to push changes up to GitHub. When your Git is actually designed to allow multiple people to work together on the same repository. And so if you had two people working together, they were both pushing changes, a push only pushes your changes into the origin. It doesn't go the other way around. Again, you can watch my GitHub video to get details. But now, if we go back, this is the web interface to GitHub. What we'll see here, if we refresh the page, you notice that grade ASM1 has been changed. There's our little comment. If we go in, we look at the contents of it, there's the thing that we added. Now, as far as GitHub Classroom, this is how you're going to turn in your code. Once you have committed something and then you've pushed those changes up to GitHub, I will be able to see them. Whatever you put in here is what I'm going to grade. If you have changes on your local machine that you don't push up to GitHub, I will never see them. So how do you turn in things? Well, you're going to make some changes. You're going to commit them. You can using this commit button down here, and then you go to push things up to GitHub. I would also encourage you to go watch my GitHub video and look at the other ways that you can access things, because you're not limited to simply using the GitHub desktop. This is actually a wrapper around some lower level tools. And so this process of cloning a repository, making changes, committing them, and pushing them, that's stuff you can do from the command line. Now, I know a lot of you are not real excited about using the command line, and I can live with that. But you're going to be doing a lot of development work on Lectura, which is our department's Unix server. On Lectura, you are not going to have a nice graphical application. So you're going to have a couple of choices. Either you are going to be manually copying files back and forth between your laptop and Lectura, or you could clone the assignment on Lectura, make your changes there, commit your changes on Lectura, push them up to GitHub directly from Lectura. It's a lot less error prone, a lot more likely to get exactly the file that you wanted up checked into Classroom. So I'd recommend you try that. I hope this has been a useful video, and I will see you all later.